What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and welcome if you're new. In today's video I'm going to be doing an overview of this MORRFlate Inflation air up air down system. It's a really cool tool that will allow you to inflate or deflate all four of your tires at the same time. If you saw my last video where I did the unboxing, overview, and review of this Viair 300P, you know that it has a way to deflate and obviously inflate your tires. So I'm going to be doing a direct comparison of just using the Viair to deflate all four tires and then inflate them, again using only the Viair, and then I'm going to compare that to using just the MORRFlate to deflate the tires and then the MORRFlate paired with the Viair to inflate the tires back up, and we'll see if there's any time difference between the two. What I will say is if there isn't a time difference, there's definitely going to be a difference in ease of use, because the MORRFlate's kind of just a set it and let it ride type of deal, whereas the Viair you're going to have to be a little bit more on the ball, and you got to obviously switch between the four tires, whereas MORRFlate you do them all at once. Alright, so I'm going to get right into the overview of the MORRFlate just to kind of show you what it is and let you know kind of how it's going to be used and the benefits of it and whatnot. Alright guys, so here is the MORRFlate quad inflation and deflation system. I'm going to go ahead and open it up so you guys can see what it looks like, and I'll explain kind of how it works. So right off the bat, obviously some really quality tubing used here. I like that it's like the neon green so you don't lose track of it, obviously. Not that you really would, but you know, it might be nice if you're airing up at night or in the snow or something like that. Not that I have to worry about that because I live in Florida, it doesn't snow here. But anyway, so if I open it up, this is kind of what it looks like. You have your control gauge in the middle, which is essentially a digital tire gauge. If I turn that on, it shows you battery indicator and PSI, and you can change the unit to kPa, not sure what that is. Bar, I don't know what that is, kgf over centimeters, and then back to PSI because that's what I'm going to use. So obviously the whole system kind of goes into this little unit here, and then it's two hoses branching out, and then there's a little T slot for two more hoses, and those go to your tips, which plug onto your tires. I will say that everything feels super high quality on this. You know, the gauge, the fittings, the hoses, everything feels really good. And these guys are the OGs at making this system. There are a few remakes out on the market, but these are the OGs, and they're pumping out quality products, so I would definitely recommend looking at them if you're interested in getting something like this. And then one more thing to note is this adapter. You're going to need one of these for specific types of air compressors that you have. So I bought the one for the 300P. It's a little bit of an extra added cost, but no big deal, and it's a super high quality piece. Alright guys, so that's your quick review of the MORRFlate inflation system. What I'm going to do now is whip out the Viair 300P and go around and deflate all the tires, timing it to see how long it takes. I'm going to be going from 40 psi to 20 psi, and I think that should take about 8 minutes based on my last video, which you should check out if you're interested in the Viair 300P. And then we're going to go through and inflate them back up from 20 to 40, and again see how long that takes. And then we'll do the same thing with the MORRFlate, comparing it, just airing down only with the MORRFlate and then airing it back up with the MORRFlate, obviously getting air from the Viair. So the two things I'm going to be looking for here are, number one, the amount of time it takes to both deflate and inflate to see if there's any difference there, and number two, if it's any easier. I'm pretty confident that the MORRFlate system is going to be easier to do, easier in the sense of kind of more hands off and just kind of set it and forget it type of deal, rather than with the Viair having to go around all four tires separately. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get right into it and get the tires deflated using the Viair. make sure to hit that like button because I'm out here spending a lot of time doing this test for you guys. So drop a like, maybe drop a comment, hit the subscribe button, you know the deal. I appreciate it. Thank you. So as you just saw, that took about 7 minutes and 30 seconds to air down all 4 tires from 40 psi to 20 psi using the built-in deflator that comes on the hose for the Viair. Anyway, now I'm gonna go back through with the Viair. I'll hook it up, get the truck running, and pump up all 4 tires to 40 psi, and again time that and see how long it takes. Look at this dude. Wait till you see the. No, 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 no. Alright, so as you just saw, the Viair 300P filling it up takes about 2 minutes per tire, 9 minutes total because you have to, kind of walk around and maneuver and go back and check every once in a while on the longer ones. So what I'm going to do right now is set the MORRFlate up to air down to 20 psi, and we're going to let it run and see how long that takes. Also, keep in mind, this is my first time using this and first time setting it up, so I might be a little slower this go around, but I think it's pretty straightforward, so shouldn't be too bad. Alright, so as you can see, it took me 1 minute and 46 seconds to start up. I stopped the timer, paused it temporarily. This is reading 37.5. I know each tire was closer to 40, so I think it's probably just the difference of the air in the tubes, which is fine, we'll just account for that. But the reason this took so long is, like I said, number one, this is my first time setting this up. So, I was kind of slow. I took my time just making sure I got it right. And number two, I actually had the valve open, so when I tried to plug in the right side, it let a little bit of air out, so that's also kind of why this is a little bit low. But I think the test still stands, and I'm going to go ahead and run this, and we'll see how long it takes. 3 minutes and 45 seconds. That's insane. It took me 1 minute and 45 seconds to just set this up because, like I said, it was my first time. I'm slow. I didn't really know what I was doing, and I had the thing open. It got a little bit of a head start. You saw this said 37.5. It was probably closer to 38, 39. I think there was some pressure in the tubes because when I plugged in the front tires, the longer tubes, you could kind of hear the air start to come out and fill the tubes. So I would definitely say it's around 38, 40. But down to 20 psi, it took 3 minutes and 45 seconds. So about 2 minutes after I actually set the thing up. That's insane. That's like cutting it in half. So that's actually crazy. I was not expecting that at all. I almost feel like I have to retest, but I don't think I do. Yeah, wow. Good job, MORRFlate. Alright guys, so I have the Viair 300P set up with the adapter to the MORRFlate system. I obviously didn't film myself setting up the MORRFlate again. I had to flip it. I'm going to go ahead and get the truck running and then I'll turn this on, get the timer started, and we'll see how long it takes to fill up the tires back from 20 to 40. Alright guys, so as you just saw, it took around 10 minutes. I actually went a little bit over to like 41, almost 42 psi on accident. I was kind of checking between the MORRFlate and the gauge in my truck, the tire pressure monitors, to see how accurate it was, and you know, by the time I went in there and came back out, it had gone over, which is fine. So I would say it took about 9 to 9 minutes and 30 seconds to actually fill the tires, as well as any additional setup time, which is probably around a minute. So not really any faster on inflating the tires, but that's not really surprising because of course the Viair 300P is the common denominator here. It's not necessarily going to work any faster, I guess, if you're using different hoses, you know. I figured the thing that might change the time between them would be the setup time, but I would say it's about the same, probably a little quicker with the MORRFlate once I get used to setting it up. But otherwise, I'm really happy with this setup. I think it did really well, especially for airing down. Again, that was really surprising how quick that was, and I'm really pumped about that because that's gonna save me 5 minutes every time I go out on the trail, essentially. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the little notification bell so you know when new videos are coming out, and drop a like and a comment if you like this video. It helps me out a ton. It helps me catch that algorithm, and it helps more people see these videos and hopefully help them out. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.